And many people, many reports over the last few years have said we must invest in more in agricultural R&D. World Bank last year said it wanted to double investment to $8.3 billion US dollars over the next 3 years. The Rural R&D Council is suggesting in its report on its draft investment plan, doubling investment in agricultural R&D in Australia. Royal Society of London, a report 2 years ago, suggested that the UK government should invest £2 billion over the next 10 years in agricultural R&D. And a couple of weeks ago, the UK chief scientist reiterated that and said that to solve the global food security problem, we need to invest in new knowledge. So lots of people are saying it. And to meet all those challenges, we need to recognize that agriculture relies on smart technologies. We have to do things better, we have to do them well, and we have to use cutting-edge research and development. We have to have a step change. We really need to step change the rate of agricultural production, and that means we need to invest more to do that. We need to attract the best minds into agricultural R&D. We need to identify the critical issues, apply the outcomes of R&D faster, and also foster partnerships both locally and internationally. Well, all that sounds very well, but we have problems. This is from the Grains Research Development Corporation. They looked at the way posts were distributed between different aspects of the research that they fund, and the male-female ratios in various areas, and the age structure of the scientists. And if you look down here, you can see of this 454 in this particular example, 184 of those scientists are actually in molecular biology, molecular genetics, underpinning research for grain crop improvement. And many of those people are pretty young. There's some older ones as well, probably the people who established molecular biology, molecular genetics in the UK, but a reasonably healthy number of people at a young age. Compare that to agronomists, to breeders, and basically what I'll call crop protection experts. Most of those are male, overwhelmingly male, and many of them are well over 50. Less so for the agronomists, but they're all over 30, between 35 and 50. But we have overwhelmingly male plant breeders who are approaching the end of their careers. Now, it's relatively easy to get students from other subjects, like who've done maybe a biology degree, to come and do molecular biology. It's very hard to persuade them to become agronomists, breeders, or plant crop protection experts. And so I believe we're facing a major crisis in these really underpinning aspects of agricultural R&D. These are the people who basically take knowledge and turn it into crop varieties or farm practices that will impact on farms. The problem is we need to do all this agricultural R&D. We need to get more of those agronomists, breeders, and crop protection experts. But as Jim has already shown, the number of graduates emerging from Australian universities with agricultural degrees is actually in decline, and it's continuing to decline. And so we have a real crisis just of the best students coming into university wanting to do agriculture. What's the reason for that? Well, one reason I think is on here, that these are the HEX fees that students have to pay towards the cost of their courses. And agricultural is in band 2, together with computing, health, allied health sciences, engineering. This year, a student will have to pay just over $7,750 towards their degrees. That's actually only about $1,200, $1,300 less than if they go into these well-recognized professional degrees. And I think if I was a student thinking that there were no jobs in agriculture, which we know is not reality from the earlier talks, I might be prepared to take a punt on $1,300 extra for what I consider, or what society considers, to be top-class professional qualifications. There is a solution to this, though. We have, the government can set national priority subjects, and these are the ones at the moment where they basically charge the student far less and then subsidize the universities to get them back up to the higher bands. My belief that in order to promote agriculture as a subject that the government wants students to go into, agriculture needs to be put into this category for a few years. And I think that would send out a very strong signal and make a big difference. But then we have another problem, because once they graduate, we want them to do PhDs. And these are data from Graduate Careers Australia, from surveys of graduates about a year after they've left university. And one of the questions is, are you in further study after your first degree? And it doesn't differentiate, the data I've seen at least, between PhDs or further coursework programs. But nonetheless, what you can see is that agriculture has very low rates of people going into further degrees compared to life sciences in general and geology. Only about 20% compared to nearly 50% up here. And that's a problem. We're not getting students coming in to do PhDs. And that is a long-term issue. And it's people like Mark who want to take our graduates and take them into jobs to become extension experts or whatever. Our students, agriculture students, have no problem getting jobs, and they want to go out into those jobs, and they're poached to do so. And here's the other reason, again a financial one. These data are a few years old now, so these numbers may not be exactly today's, but they're about right. An Australian postgraduate award is equivalent, it's not taxed, but it's equivalent in its value to an after-tax salary of just under 20,000 at the time we put these data together. That's subsistence levels. We're trying to attract some of the brightest minds in Australia to do research, and this isn't just for agriculture, these are all subjects, and we're paying them subsistence wages, essentially. Some other scholarships are more valuable. The GRDC at this time was paying about $5,000 more. A CRC, a typical CRC scholarship, was about $3,000 more again. But compare that to what a new graduate was getting, typical new graduate was getting at that time. The take-home pay of these people is substantially less than they can get if they can go out into the marketplace. And I think the erosion of the value of APAs and other scholarships is now a major disincentive for anybody wishing to do a PhD. So, this slide, perceptions and reality. I think the perception in the community as a whole is that agriculture is low tech. We know it's not. It has an exceptional record of taking up the outcomes of research. Agriculture is an environmental vandal. Which ignores the fact that farmers actually steward 60% of the land in Australia and do so responsibly in most cases. It's a drought-ravaged industry and therefore no prospects. And yet the industry has shown exceptional resilience in the face of the prolonged drought. And in many farms, production has actually been possible, whereas in previous droughts, there may have been no production at all, but changes in practices have meant that many farms have come through resiliently through the drought. Farmers are always whinging and demanding handouts. You get that impression a lot of the time. Maybe peak bodies are partly responsible for that, but farmers are in fact very self-resilient and only have support in exceptional circumstances. And a lack of appreciation of the role of agriculture in delivering high-quality, safe food to urban communities. So they don't appreciate that, and they don't realize it's a source of healthy, quality, and safe products. So all of those things, rather like Mark says, we have to overcome societal perceptions about agriculture if we're to get young people into agricultural R&D. What can we do? Well, we need to promote agricultural research as a worthwhile, appreciated career pursuit, something that society needs, that it's vital to the competitive and prosperity, not just of Australia, but actually of the world. And many people now realize that agriculture is the route to prosperity in third world and developing countries. We have to show that it's a smart, modern industry and that the R&D supports that industry, and it's a world leader in Australia in quality assurance and environmental sustainability. And we need to encourage the development of intellectual capital required to meet this country's agricultural innovation needs in the future. And also, once students have graduated, whether it's a BSc, PhD, whatever, we need to encourage them to develop their skills to become the leaders of the future. I think what we should be doing is we should be saying the next Norman Borlaug, who is one of the fathers of the Green Revolution, should come from Australia. Thank you.